Hey, welcome. So today we're going to dive into a concept that's, it's at the heart of retirement planning, but a lot of people don't quite get it. We're talking about mortality credits. Think of it as the secret sauce, the hidden engine that powers one of the biggest promises in finance, an income that you literally can't outlive.
All right, let me start by asking you a really big question. What if you could absolutely guarantee that you would never, ever outlive your savings? This hits on one of the biggest fears people have about retirement, longevity risk. That scary thought of your money running out before you do. Well, the whole concept we're digging into today is designed to solve that exact problem. So, to really wrap our heads around this, let's take a little trip back in time. I want to tell you a simple story about a village that, hundreds of years ago, figured out a brilliant fix for a problem we are still wrestling with today. And you know what? The problem these villagers were dealing with probably sounds incredibly familiar. They just had no way of knowing how long they were going to live once they couldn't work anymore. Some might make it to 60, others might live to be 90. And that uncertainty created this nagging fear of what happens if their money runs out. So the village elder comes up with this idea that's, frankly, pretty radical for its time. Everyone agrees to put a chunk of their savings into one big communal fund. And in return, that fund would pay every single member a steady income for the rest of their lives. And here's the clever part. When someone passed away, their money didn't just vanish. Nope, it stayed right there in the pot, helping to fund the payments for everyone who lived longer. It was a brilliant system of sharing the risk to create security for everybody. And that simple, brilliant village plan? Well, that's the perfect way to understand what we now call mortality credits. It's just the modern, financial version of that same idea, but now it's backed up by some pretty sophisticated math and actuarial science.
So, to put it simply, a mortality credit is the financial boost you get from this risk pooling system, which you'll usually find in a product called an annuity. See, when you get an annuity, you're not just buying a product, you're joining a pool of people. And as some people in that pool pass away sooner than expected, the money that was set aside for them gets redistributed to everyone who is still living. And that bonus, that redistribution, that is the mortality credit.
And this is where you can really see the difference, right? If you're managing your own investments, your success is all on you, your money and whatever the market does. But with an annuity, you've got your principal, you've got market returns, plus you get this extra kick from the mortality credits generated by the whole group. It's a team effort.
All right, so you're probably thinking, how does the math on this actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look at a really simple example to see how the gears turn. Okay, let's just make up a scenario here. Imagine a group of 1,000 people. They're all 65 years old and they decide to join an annuity pool together. Now each one of them puts in $100,000. And boom, just like that, you've got this massive $100 million investment pool. And this is exactly why it works. It's the law of large numbers in action, which is what insurance companies rely on to make the whole thing predictable. So this is where it all comes together. First, all that money is pooled and invested. Then the lifetime payouts start for everyone. Okay, but the real magic, the secret sauce, happens in steps 4 and 5. As time goes on and some members of the pool pass away, the money that was supporting their payments gets reallocated. This actually boosts the payout for everyone who's still in the pool. So the longer you live, the more you benefit from the system. Pretty clever, right? Okay, so we've seen the mechanics, but what does this all mean for you? How does this actually become a safety net for your retirement? Just take a look at this chart. I think it makes the point perfectly. Let's say you buy a bond. It gives you nice, steady payments, but only for a fixed amount of time, maybe 20 years. Then it's done. But the annuity? It's different. It's designed to keep paying and paying for as long as you're around. There's no finish line. And this isn't just some abstract financial theory. Let's think about a real couple. We'll call them Sarah and John. They decided to put some of their savings into an annuity because they needed that guarantee. And when John sadly passed away, the payments just kept on coming to Sarah for the rest of her life thanks to those mortality credits. And that gave her incredible peace of mind during a really tough time. Okay, now this all sounds pretty great, right? But it's really important to remember this is not a silver bullet. It's not for everyone. So let's be fair and look at both the pros and the cons. So here's the deal. It's all about trade-offs. On the plus side, you get income you can't outlive, which is huge. And the payouts are often higher than what you'd get from other super safe investments like bonds. And you might wonder, how is that possible? Well, remember, your payout isn't just coming from investments. It's getting that extra boost from the mortality credits. That's a source of return you just can't get anywhere else. But, and this is a big but, there are real downsides. The big one is, what if you pass away early? You might not get all your money's worth.
Also, that money is generally locked up. It's not liquid, and these products can be complex and have fees.
So, when you lay it all out, who is this really for? Who benefits the most from this kind of setup? Well, it really seems to hit the sweet spot for a few types of people. First, retirees who just want that guaranteed check every month, no matter what. Second, if longevity runs in your family, well, the odds are kind of in your favor. And third, it's a great fit for investors who just hate risk and want to sleep soundly knowing that their basic income is locked in.
All right, we've gone through a lot here, from a simple village to some pretty complex finance. So let's boil it all down to the one big idea I really want you to walk away with.
When you get right down to it, it all comes back to that village plan, doesn't it? It's a bunch of people saying, hey, let's share this risk together. And by doing that, they create a safety net for each individual that's way stronger than anything they could have built on their own.
And that really leaves us with one final big question for you to think about. When you're planning for your future, does it make more sense to go it alone, or is betting on the community the safest bet you can make?